Calgary crossed 1.6 million people. In 2023 alone, almost 100,000 new residents moved here. And if you spend 5 minutes on social media, you'll find two completely opposite versions of this city. People saying Calgary changed their life, and people saying Calgary broke them. What's up, guys? I'm Felix Chan, born and raised right here in Calgary, and I've been helping families navigate this city for years. And what I've learned after watching thousands of people make this move is that both groups are telling the truth. Calgary genuinely is one of the best cities in Canada to build a life. And Calgary genuinely will humble you if you walk in unprepared. Here's what this video is, and it's not a tourism pitch, it's not a scare tactic. It's the honest breakdown of what living in Calgary actually looks like in 2026. The financial advantages are real. The lifestyle that keeps people here for decades, and the specific things that catch even the most prepared people completely off guard. We're gonna go through the real pros and the real cons, the obvious ones and the ones nobody talks about. And I'm going to use actual numbers, real stories, and the kind of ground level knowledge that only comes from living and working in this city your entire life. Because whether you're seriously considering a move, already planning one, or just trying to validate a decision you've already made, you deserve the complete picture, not just the highlight reel. Let's get into it. If you want honest, data-backed content about Calgary real estate and lifestyle, hit that subscribe button right now, because we put out new content every week and we're never going to sugarcoat what's actually happening in this city. The pros. Okay, so let's start with why people are moving here in record numbers, because the reasons go much deeper than just cheaper homes. And some of them are things you'd never find in a relocation guide. Your money goes further here than almost anywhere in Canada. No provincial sales tax. Let that sit for a second.
Huh?
While people in Ontario and BC are paying 12 to 13% combined tax on almost everything they buy, Calgarians pay just 5% federal GST. That's it. Every grocery run, every appliance, every renovation. You're saving 7 to 8% compared to most of Canada. Now imagine that compounding every single year for multiple years or multiple decades. Over a full year for an average family, that's thousands of dollars that simply stay in your pocket. And it doesn't stop there. No land transfer tax when you buy a home. In Toronto, a $700,000 home triggers roughly $22,000 in land transfer taxes before you moved a single piece of furniture. In Calgary, that number is zero. The first $22,769 of your income is completely tax-free at the provincial level. And if you earn up to $154,000, you're taxed at 10%. Then there's housing. As of March 2026, the benchmark price for a detached home in Calgary was $741,000. Compare that to Toronto's $1.5 million on average, or Vancouver's numbers, and the math becomes almost hard to believe. I had a client last year, a nurse from Vancouver, who sold her 600 square foot condo for $780,000 and bought a 4-bedroom detached home in Coventry Hills Northwest for about $550,000. She had money left over. She stood in her new backyard on possession day and just kept shaking her head. I have a yard, Felix, an actual yard. And it's not just about what things cost, it's about what you earn. Calgary's median household income hit $113,730 in 2023 and has been climbing. Higher income, lower taxes, cheaper housing. That combination is genuinely rare in any major Canadian city right now. But here's where it gets interesting, because beyond the obvious financial wins, there are advantages to living in Calgary that most people never even think to research. The unconventional financial wins. So let me tell you about a few things that don't make the headlines, but add up in ways that matter. This one's kind of quirky, but the dry climate here means your laundry dries fast. I mean, same day fast. Hang something outside in the morning and it's done. by the afternoon. Now, that sounds trivial until you've lived somewhere humid and spent the last 3 days waiting for a towel to dry. Small thing, but it's one of those quality of life details that Calgarians quietly love. Calgary International Airport offers direct flights to major global destinations, including Tokyo, which is all the rage these days, and later this year, Brazil. For a landlocked prairie city, the international connectivity is genuinely impressive and something most people don't factor in when they're comparing cities. And then there's something that matters a lot if you have a dog. Calgary is exceptionally pet friendly. More green space, more off-leash parks, more lenient pet policies in condos compared to Toronto. And if you've ever tried to find a dog-friendly rental in Vancouver or Toronto, you know exactly how significant this is. Oh, and Alberta officially bans rats, not just as pets, but the province has had an active rat control program that's been running since the 1950s. Alberta is one of the few rat-free populated regions in the world. If you've ever dealt with a rodent problem in a major city, you'll appreciate this more than you expect. Now, everyone talks about Calgary's affordability, but there's a quality of life advantage here that goes far beyond what you can measure in dollars. And it's the reason people who move here almost never want to leave. The mountains, the trails, and the lifestyle. The iconic Banff is 90 minutes away. Canmore is 72 minutes. Kananaskis is about an hour drive. Sunshine Village Ski Resort is about an hour and a half. These aren't vacation destinations for Calgarians. They're weekend routines. Saturday morning, you load the kids in the car and you're standing in Kananaskis by 9 a.m. Sunday, you drive up to Canmore for a hike and dinner. Tuesday evening after work, you take the Trans-Canada West just to clear your head. This is just life here. And the hiking specifically, it's on a level that people from other parts of Canada generally don't understand until they experience it. Kananaskis alone has hundreds of kilometers of trails ranging from easy lakeside walks to serious alpine scrambles. You've got trails that take you past glacial lakes that look like they were designed by someone trying to make the rest of the world feel inadequate. Fall brings larch season, golden trees against gray rock and blue sky. Winter means world-class skiing at Sunshine Village, Lake Louise, and Nikiska. Spring means the waterfalls run full and the trails come back to life. But it's not just the mountains. Inside the city, Fish Creek Provincial Park and Nose Hill Park are massive urban green spaces that most cities would kill for. The running and cycling paths along the Bow River stretch for kilometers through the heart of the city. Calgary has quietly built one of the best active lifestyle infrastructure in any major Canadian city. I have clients who moved here from Toronto specifically for this. They spent years booking expensive flights to Banff, treating it like a once-a-year pilgrimage. Now, they can go on a random Wednesday afternoon because they feel like it. One of them told me recently,
Felix, I've hiked more in the last 6 months than I did in the previous 6 years combined.
And here's something about Calgary's lifestyle that has a direct impact on your health. Something that most people don't think about until they've been here for a few months. The sunshine, the altitude, and your health. Calgary is Canada's sunniest major city. Over 333 days of sunshine per year. 2,396 sunshine hours annually. That's not just a nice statistic. It has a measurable impact on mental health. People who move here from Vancouver, where winters are gray and wet and relentless, often describe their first Calgary winter as a revelation. Cold, yes, but bright. Genuinely beautifully bright. The constant sunshine is a documented mood booster, and the contrast with coastal cities is stark enough that people notice it within weeks of arriving. The air quality here is genuinely better than in high-density urban centers like Toronto. Residents consistently describe the air as fresher, cleaner. For anyone who runs, cycles, or trains outdoors, this matters. And then there's the altitude. Calgary sits approximately 1 kilometer above sea level. The air is thinner. For fitness people and athletes, this actually is an advantage. Training in Calgary is essentially a form of altitude training. When you travel to cities at sea level, physical activity feels noticeably easier. Runners who train here regularly report significant performance improvements when they race elsewhere. There's also the social dimension of a rapidly growing city that doesn't get talked enough about. Because Calgary is growing so fast, a huge portion of the population in their 20s and 30s are new to the city. Everyone is starting from scratch. That creates a unique social environment where people are more open, more approachable, and more willing to make new friends than in an established city where social circles have been locked in for decades. If you're moving here without knowing anyone, that's actually a significant advantage. The cons. Now, I promised you the complete picture, and that means we need to talk about the things that catch people off guard. And some of these go well beyond what you'd expect. Winter is a 7-month commitment. Calgary's winter runs from mid-October to mid-May. That's 7 months. Cold snaps hit -20 to -30 degrees regularly. Wind chills make it even colder. And the sun sets at 4:30 p.m. in December, which means the darkness settles in before most people have even left the office. And here's the part that surprises people the most. And it doesn't end when you think it will. Just this past April, a spring storm rolled through southern Alberta and dropped significant snowfall across the region. Enough to make headlines, enough to disrupt commutes, enough to make everyone who just packed away their winter tires deeply regret that decision. And it wasn't a freak event. It happens regularly. In April, Calgary will give you a gorgeous 18-degree day. In March, and then bury you in snow 2 days later. The darkness in December and January is real. Less than 8 hours a day of sunlight. For people who've never experienced this, the psychological impact can catch people off guard. Some newcomers describe the experience of commuting in the dark as living in a cave. Seasonal depression is a documented reality for a portion of the population, and even people who don't experience clinical symptoms often notice their energy and mood shifting during the darkest months. And then there's the dryness. Calgary sits in a semi-arid climate, and the winters are brutally dry. We're not talking about slightly dry skin. We're talking cracked knuckles, chronic nosebleeds, and skin that feels like sandpaper. People describe their skin becoming like snake skin. One person told me the air was so dry, their fingers split open just from the friction of flossing their teeth. That's not an exaggeration. That's a real thing that happens here. You'll go through more moisturizer, more lip balm, and more humidifier refills in one Calgary winter than you have your entire life. The cold, though, is manageable once you know what to expect. But Calgary has a weather personality that goes beyond just temperature, and it costs real money in ways most people never budget for. The weather costs real money and affects your health. Calgary sits in Hailstorm Alley. The August 2024 hailstorm caused $2.8 billion in insured losses, the second costliest natural disaster in Canadian history. Hail deductibles in high-risk areas can reach $10,000. Home insurance averages around $1,700 annually, higher for detached homes, but can climb past $3,000 depending on your location and roof age. Wildfire smoke has become a regular summer reality, thanks to BC. In 2023, Calgary recorded over 512 hours of poor air quality, more than 21 full days where the air outside was genuinely hazardous. For families with young children or anyone with respiratory sensitivities, this is a real health consideration that doesn't show up in any relocation brochure. Then there are the Chinooks. These warm westerly winds can raise temperatures by 20 degrees in a few hours. Sounds wonderful, and in many ways it is. But the rapid pressure changes that come with Chinooks trigger debilitating headaches and migraines in a significant portion of the population. People describe it perfectly. It's like celebrating a lottery win while someone punches you in the throat. The temperature relief is real, but so is the physical cost. And here's something that catches people completely off guard: the UV exposure. Because Calgary sits at high altitude with thinner air, the sun is significantly harsher than at sea level. You can get a severe sunburn here on a day that doesn't even feel that hot. Most people don't even think about sunscreen in a prairie city, but in Calgary, especially in summer, it's non-negotiable. Seasonal allergies are also brutal for many residents. The combination of wind, dryness, and pollen makes mid-April to mid-May pretty difficult. People who've never had allergy issues in other cities find themselves reaching for antihistamines for the first time in their lives. Now, let's talk about the hidden winter costs, because this is where most newcomers get blindsided. Winter tires here are non-negotiable, $1,200 to $2,400. Calgary uses a road treatment mixture that locals call pickle, 97% fine gravel and 3% salt. It works, but it chips your windshield constantly, and the salt will rust out your car if you don't wash it. Most Calgarians just drive around with cracked windshields because fixing them repeatedly isn't worth it. Heating bills for detached homes could spike $100 to $150 monthly for natural gas alone. -30 rated gear for the whole family. Increased gas consumption from warming up your vehicle every morning. Total winter costs average around $2,500 annually, and that's before any major hail claims. The weather is the most visible challenge in Calgary, but there's a day-to-day reality about how this city is built that affects your life in ways you don't fully appreciate until you're living it. Calgary is a car city with some quirks you need to know. Calgary covers a massive geographic area. It sprawls in every direction with new communities constantly being added to the edges. The public transit system, while improving, has not kept pace with that growth. The C-Train is useful if you live near a station or work downtown. But for the majority of Calgarians in newer suburban communities, transit is simply not a practical option. You need a car, period. Car insurance averages $200 to $350 monthly. And if you're under 25 or have any claims history, you could be looking at up to $600 or more per month in hail areas. That's before the windshield chips, the winter tire swaps, and the general wear that Calgary's roads put on vehicles. Deerfoot Trail carries more than 180,000 vehicles per day, nearly triple the capacity it was designed for in the 60s. Evening rush hour congestion averages 71.2%. At peak times, it takes more than 24 minutes to drive 10 kilometers. But beyond traffic, there are some road quirks that catch newcomers off guard. Lanes end unexpectedly in ways that feel almost random if you don't know the city. U-turns are illegal at almost every traffic light, something that takes adjustment if you're used to cities where that's standard. And Calgary has extensive speed and red light cameras at every major intersection. Locals have strong opinions about these cameras. Let's just say not everyone sees them as purely a safety measure. And finally, there's something about Calgary's economic personality and its healthcare system that you need to understand before you make this move. The economy, the healthcare, and the downtown reality. About 25% of Alberta's GDP still comes from oil and gas. When that sector is strong, Calgary feels electric, confident, ambitious, and full of energy. When it weakens, the mood shifts. Alberta's March unemployment rate is sitting at 6.7%, the same as the national average. The job market is competitive, particularly for newcomers without established local networks. Our healthcare is under significant strain. Finding a family doctor in Calgary is genuinely difficult. Availability is described as very limited across much of the city. Emergency room wait times at major hospitals average 4 to 6 hours. Specialist referrals are slow, with some people paying for private healthcare outside of the province. If you have ongoing health needs, this needs to be part of your planning before you arrive. And then there's the downtown reality. Calgary's core is largely a 9-to-5 environment. After work hours, it can feel like a ghost town as workers head back to the suburbs. It is getting better, but it's not quite vibrant yet. Major concert tours often skip Calgary for larger venues elsewhere. The city is building towards something better. Scotia Place and the new culture and entertainment district will change this. But for now, if you're coming from a city with a vibrant late night scene, the adjustment takes a little bit of time. The riverfront is a version of this same story. Calgary has two rivers running through it, the Bow and the Elbow, and the pathways along them are genuinely awesome. But there's a huge lack of commercial infrastructure directly on the water. No bars on the river, no restaurants with decks hanging over the water. The riverfront is nice. It just lacks the lively social hub that this city with this much water running through it could be. So here's where we land. Calgary in 2026 is a city of real contradictions. It will stretch your dollar further than almost anywhere in Canada, and then hand you an insurance bill that makes you catch your breath. It will put the Rocky Mountains in your backyard. It will give you 333 days of sunshine and snow in April. It will make your skin crack and your lungs feel clean at the same time. The people who thrive here are the ones who came in with realistic expectations. They know about the winters and prepared for them. They budgeted for the hidden costs. They understand the car dependency and planned around it. They appreciated the tax advantages without assuming the costs would disappear entirely. And almost universally, the thing that keeps people here, the thing that turns a practical decision into a genuine love for the city is the lifestyle. The Saturday morning hikes in Kananaskis or the mountains, the Tuesday afternoon drives to Canmore, the 333 days of sunshine, the neighbors who actually wave back. The sense that you can build a real life here at a pace that doesn't grind you down. Now, Calgary isn't perfect, but for the right person, it can be pretty close. If you're considering making the move and want to talk through what it would actually look like for your family, reach out to us. Calgary is a sprawling city, so figuring out where to live, it can be overwhelming. But we keep real estate simple. The link is in the description. And if this video gave you a clear picture of life in Calgary in 2026, I would appreciate your support if you hit that like button and let me know in the comments, what's the pro or con that matters most to you? My name is Felix Chan, Calgary realtor and mortgage broker with the LiveInnerCity real estate team, and we'll see you in the next video.